attorney.
Welcome back. It's the next day, and I just couldn't wait until any longer. So here we go. Oh boy, Sunday, 5th of October. Or is that the other way? I don't know. Maybe it's the other way around. May 10th, I guess. Yeah. 8 o'clock Besieged is the chapter name. Sure. I wonder if at any point, like trying to avoid looking at these chapter names would be beneficial, because I usually try to stop whenever chapters end. So like, or not always, but sometimes, yeah, it happens. So like at the very beginning of the next chapter, if it's more beneficial to not look at the chapter name, like maybe it spoils something, or I don't know. Stupid. Yeah, there's a weird mosquito. Fucker. Don't know how it got inside, but whatever. Yeah, actually it's not even a full day. It's like 14 hours later. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. I can sense we're approaching the end game of episode 1. Yeah, right. In the end, Kanan-kun did not regain consciousness. Even though Dr. Nanjo and the rest did all they could to heal him, there was very little that could be done on an island like this without medicine or proper facilities. So, like, does the line of not regaining consciousness mean that he is gonna die or he died there? However, Kanan-kun was the only human ever to confront the culprit. Yeah, he resigned from being a furniture. If only he could give us some kind of clue. But by the time he was carried here, it was already too late. Damn it.
申し訳ありません。あのような重傷を設備のないところではどうしようも。
Yeah.
いえ、無理もないことです。
Hmm.
最善を尽くしてくださり、ありがとうございました。
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Nanjo's shirt had been sprayed by a violent spurt of blood, so it was easy to imagine the devotion with which he had tried to save Kanan-kun's life up until the very last second. Jessica was crouched in the corridor, crying in anguish. She had probably been taking care of Kanan-kun until the moment of his death. George Aniki tried to approach her with words of comfort, but when Jessica pushed him away, he stopped trying to interfere and left her alone.
私がカノンさんを一人で行かせなければ。
気に病むことはない。
Yeah.
仮に一緒だったら熊沢も襲われていたかもしれん。それに愚かにも先走ったゆえの自業自得だ。
そんな言い方ってねえぜ。
Yeah.
カノン君は犯人の姿を見つけて勇敢に立ち向かったんだ。熊沢さんも一緒だったら犯人は躊躇して逃げることを選んだかもしれない。
Emotion-filled words that I never thought I'd hear from the normally tactful Jessica tumbled out of her mouth. Kumasawa, looking truly sorry, could do nothing but hang her head.
ジェシカ、今は言葉をかけるべきじゃない。僕だって。そしてバトラー君もだろう。 もう何が何だかわからなくて心が張り裂けそうだよ。
There were tears in George Aniki's eyes again. Seeing Jessica break down, crying, probably brought back the pain of losing his parents. I had already cried myself dry, yeah. So I didn't want to cry anymore. However, I felt myself the pain in their hearts.
大丈夫だよ、ジェシカお姉ちゃん。
That seems like every single comment from you, Maria, feels like so fucked up right now. I'm sure it will later be okay, but for now it's just really rude.
カノンにだってまたすぐ会えるよ。
Wow.
よしてくれよ。そういう慰めはいらねえぜ。
ベアトリーチェは死者も失った愛すらも蘇らせる。だからきっとすぐに会えるよ。そしてきっとみんなで穏やかに過ごせるから。
カノン君を殺したのがマリアに昨日手紙を渡したっていうベアトリーチェなのか。そいつはどこにいるんだよ。どこに隠れてるんだよ。
Everywhere.
私が見つけて引き裂いてやる。
Tear her limb from limb. On the fourth night, on the fifth night, each time we lost a limb or a part of the body.
言えよ。知ってるんだろ、犯人の正体を。お前は何を知っていて何を隠してるんだ。
I assume she hit the wall and not Maria with that bump and thump.
話しやがれ。
お嬢様、おやめください。
Oh, did she actually hit Maria? Damn.
ベアトリーチェはいる。
Okay, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure she does, but you know, try to think of it from their point of view.
畜生、ケンジさん話せよ。マリアが犯人を知ってる。しかもそいつは知ってて隠してるんだ。そして私たちの内情を伝えて殺しの手引きをしてるに違いないんだぜ。ジェシカ、静かにしなさい。
Jessica rushed at Maria and grabbed hold of her. Damn. Genji tried to stop her, but Jessica could not be calmed. The next thing I heard was the sound of Aunt Natsuhi slapping Jessica's face. A big slap. After that, only Jessica's sorrowful sobbing voice resounded throughout the hall.
マリアちゃん、僕は君が断じて犯人ではないことを知っている。君はいつも僕たちと一緒にいたし、犯人なんかと通じている時間はなかった。だから聞かせてほしい。君に昨日手紙を渡したベアトリーチェとは誰なんだい？
Although those words seemed kind, they clearly showed that George still had some doubts about Maria. He hadn't tackled Maria. However, he felt exactly the same way Jessica did.
兄貴、同じことは俺もさっき聞いたぜ。返事は同じさ。
マリアちゃんの口から聞きたい。ベアトリーチェとは誰なんだい？
言ってもどうせ信じない。
それはどういう意味だい？
Because you don't like the answer of Beatrice being just Beatrice.
ひょっとして僕らのよく知る人物が犯人で、君は何かの事情からそれをかばうために黙っているというのかい？君は あの手紙を誰にもらったんだい？
ベアトリーチェにもらったんだよ。何度だって言う。手紙はベアトリーチェにもらった。ジョージお兄ちゃんがベアトリーチェを信じないのは殴れる相手じゃないから？
Damn.
ジョージお兄ちゃんはやるせない気持ちを暴力に変えて誰かにぶつけたいと思っている。だから殴れる相手が人間じゃなきゃ収まりがつかない。
I mean, she's got you there.
だからそんなジョージお兄ちゃんには真実を話しても受け入れられない。だから言っても無駄。
I was just thinking about the previous part with Kanonkun's declaration and him talking about miracles and insane bets and how that previously got me thinking that what if the solution actually is not magical at all and there is a realistic through line to solve this mystery with just some insanely elaborate trickery going on that we are obviously not fully privy to yet. And this right here then made me think that Maria also knows that might not be magic because she says tell you the truth instead of just saying straight up just saying that it's Beatrice doing magic. And because she is saying because it's not a person you can hit, so that makes me feel like it's some elaborate mechanism or a trap of sorts that doesn't really require a human to do anything, you know? Or maybe even animals, you know, seagulls.
信じない。でもマリアは何度も言うよ。真実だから言うよ。ベアトリーチェはね、いるの。
Also, I don't think another thing I don't think I've ever really commented on is that they always capitalize Beatrice, which is like, yeah, it's stylish, obviously, and she is the key part of in all of this. But what if that's not because they just want to be stylish? What if Beatrice is short for something like I don't know, bomb, explosive, automatic, trigger, rice? Yes. Yeah. I don't know. That's another idea I had going on in my mind. But I don't know. It's weird because obviously everyone knows that. Like, we all watched the opening cutscene. There's Beatrice there smirking. I remember that. I don't remember much else, and I don't want to rewatch the opening because I feel like it's gonna take us through all the episodes. So yeah, and there's probably like Beatrice sprites out there on the internet used in memes. So you know that really feels like Beatrice is an actual character and not just a simple mechanism or whatever this would be a shortening of. But you know, it could still be kind of both. What if Beatrice is an android? There is an A, that's an android. There is an R, that's a robot. Yeah? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but, you know. I was just trying to... I think what I was trying to get at is that... Is that I'm also very curious, or very much accepting both sides. It being a pure magic thing that we can't really solve, or it actually being a super elaborate thing, mechanism, trap, plan, set of something that we can eventually solve, but not right now. And I'm not saying that we can't solve magical stuff. We can if we're given enough context clues and rules, but yeah. I'll probably try to think of something at the end of episode 1. Like a main theory or a few theories of how or why or who. Yeah. Okay, Mario.
黄金鏡の扉はもうすぐ開かれるよ。マリアはそこに行くの。ベアトリーチェが約束してくれたの。その世界ではママも優しくてパパも一緒で優しいの。
Still have no idea really about. I mean, we learned a bit about Maria's dad, but he's very much clearly absent from the family tree. Also, does this okay. Yeah. No change there yet. Or I guess it was already changed, and that's the end of it. Yeah. But yeah, we've have learned a bit about his dad. Her dad. And not much else, so I'm curious to see if the dad will come into play in future episodes. Like if things change from the very preset of things from this time. The dad came with us to Rokkenjima and we start all over, and yeah.
マリアは早くそこへ行きたいの。
Similarly, I think there was another character mentioned in the Ushiromiya family, Battler's little sister or stepsister or something. I forget the name. I don't have my notepad next to me right now. The name is there though.
みんなはベアトリーチェのことを恐れている。そしてそれは無理もないことだけど。なら安心して。ベアトリーチェは言ってたよ。台風が去るまでに全てを終わらせるからって。
That's not very many hours, assuming that the typhoon will be gone by tomorrow morning. That's what you get for getting cocky.
饒舌なマリアも嫌いじゃねえが、とりあえずはそのくらいにしとけ。魔女はいるいる言ってたお前にとってさぞや現状は愉快だろうが、とりあえずそいつはお前だけで噛み締めとけ。他人にまで押し付けるんじゃねえ。
おお。こ
いつ前から気持ち悪いやつだとは思ってたけど、おかしいぜ。どっかおかしいぜ。
Damn, Jessica going full antagonist towards her. Yeah. Mario.
バトラは思わねえのかよ。ケンジさんは、熊沢さんは、母さんはどうだよ。マリアは犯人の正体を知ってて隠してる。確かに直接手を下してるわけじゃないかもしれない。でも間違いなく犯人の一味だぜ。そうさ、スパイさ。私たちと一緒になんかいさせられないぜ。
マリアちゃん、不謹慎な話を慎むべき時もあることを知りなさい。
Yeah, this time I'm totally with Natsuhi. You honestly need to respect others in their vulnerable states. Like, you see that someone is in anguish and crying, don't rub it in and say that it's gonna be fine because I just know it. You just don't believe it. Let people grieve and have their vulnerable moments.
これ以上混乱に油を注ぐような真似が過ぎれば、おばさんも本気で怒ります。
If you really continue this, I feel like not Natsuhi, Jessica will like yoink the shotgun from Natsuhi and shoot you in the head. Aunt Natsuhi glared at Maria with frightening eyes. Maria was used to Auntie Rose's loud style of scolding, but she apparently hadn't developed a resistance to this kind of silent telling off. She shrugged and kept her mouth shut. A desolate feeling filled the room. It felt as though things would just get more complicated if anyone spoke. How many people had already died? 6 in Dad's group. Also, both Auntie Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi, Kanan-kun, grandfather. There were a whole 18 people on this island. 10 of those had been killed. More than half of us had been killed. And at this stage, there was absolutely no guarantee that the remaining 8 were going to be alright. Remaining 8. 8 people, 8 episodes.
今は仲違いをしている時ではありません。
I'm gonna screenshot that. Because I use Discord a lot. Come hang out there. I have a server, it's free to join. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep, whenever someone starts yapping, I'm just gonna post this image.
犯人が神出鬼没に屋敷内を出入りしていることが間違いなくなった今。私たちは明日まで身を守ることだけに専念しなくてはなりません。
This is fair.
夏日おばさんに極めて同感だぜ。犯人探しは今夜ゆっくりできるさ。今はどこで籠城するかを考えた方がいい。
As I said this, I pointed out the clock to everyone. Why did we change this title, track title? Scary? It was already 8 at night. We had been receiving shocks over and over again since the early morning, and both our bodies and our minds were completely tired out. Yeah. There was still a long time until tomorrow. We needed to find some place to barricade ourselves in. Somewhere where we could rest our bodies and feel even the slightest bit safe.
私も同感ですな。
Yeah. All these deaths happened because you guys split up.
私も含め、もうみんな体も心も限界まで打ちのめされています。今からそれを考えた方が賢明でしょうな。
そういうこった。敵はマスターキーに準ずるものを持っている公算が高い。
シャノンやカノン君、ゴーダさんはマスターキーを持ってましたか？
はい。勤務時間中だったなら身につけていたはずです。
現場をいじらない方がいいってんで、そこまでは調べなかったろうが、誰かの鍵が奪われている可能性は否定できねえな。
Yeah.
そもそも犯人はバラ庭園倉庫のシャッターを開けるために一度使用人室を訪れている可能性があります。そこでマスターキーをすでに入手していると考えて間違いないでしょう。
There were many servants serving the Ushiromiya family. Right, this was brought up before, and it's, I think it even read in Kanon's bio before it was changed, that it just happened that Kanon and Shannon were serving today, but there are many more others. Because of that, there were several master keys. Yeah. So we can also never discount other servants just hiding out here, not announcing themselves, you know. Furthermore, every time the shifts changed, the keys were passed between servants. She had to admit that the arrangement had been somewhat sloppy,
仮に殺された使用人の誰かのポケットから鍵束を拝借したとして、その鍵でも開けられない安全な場所はあるのか？
Is there any safe place that even those keys couldn't open? Maybe Krause's little hidden area. And then maybe Kinzo's room, but no. No, I don't know. Because a master key sounds like something that would work on Kinzo's door too, but then again, I don't know. Maybe it's a separate key there too.
私たちはお仕事の都合上、すべてのお部屋の鍵を預かっております。
Yeah. Natsuhi, do you want to comment about the hidden room of Kraus?
お屋敷もゲストハウスもすべてです。
つまり私たちはどこへ立てこもって鍵をかけようと意味がないってわけだ。上等だぜ。鍵なんかいるもんか。来るなら来やがれってんだ。返り討ちにしてやるぜ。
Damn.
敵は正面から来ないよ。
So far, no. I mean, when cornered, yes, like with Kanon, but yeah.
最初の6人はともかく、母さんたちやカノン君。
Yeah, I guess it wasn't really a front-on approach, but still.
そして、おじい様の霊を見る限り、敵は孤立した人間だけを狙ってる。
Yeah, the biggest threat is splitting up.
一部屋に固まっている僕たちのところへ、堂々と乗り込んで来られるほどの力はないんだよ。
They might.
そうだな。兄貴の言う通りだ。ひょっとすると、おばさんのライフル銃が抑止効果として成立してるのかもしれないぜ。
Possible.
なら良いのですが。
マリア、言いたいことがあるんだろうが、そいつは飲み込んでしばらく黙ってろ。
I just hope that, despite me also disparaging Maria just now, I do hope that her being forced to stay silent does not mean that we will miss some crucial info that she would have spouted out otherwise. Like if she wants to help out and wants to keep some sort of clue, but the others just keep telling her to stay quiet, that's gonna be a bit annoying. Maria probably wanted to say that witches weren't afraid of things like guns or something like that. But if she were to say it out loud, the atmosphere around here would start to get pretty edgy. I had noticed and decided to put a stop to it.
よろしいでしょうか。
Please do, Genji.
一箇所だけ使用人の鍵束でも入れない場所が。
Yeah? Kinzo's room or...
それはどこです？
はい。
some other area we don't know about yet?
親方様の書斎です。
Right, yeah.
私は反対だぜ。じい様の気持ち悪い部屋になんか入りたくない。
あの部屋に入れる鍵は何本あるんですか？
As far as we know, just one, or maybe Kanon has a second one?
2本です。
Yours and then Kanon's, I
1
guess.
本は常に私が。
And one on Kinzo, I guess.
もう1本は親方様がお持ちでしたが、先ほどボイラー室の遺体からこれを。
Genji-san took a handkerchief out of his pocket and opened it, showing us the burnt and filthy key to the study. Then he showed it alongside his own key, which he had once lent to Aunt Natsuhi.
本来なら警察のために鍵も残すべきだったのですが。
Right, but because it's a matter of survival, you know.
親方様より書斎の留守は必ず守るように仰せつけられておりましたもので、私がお預かりさせていただいておりました。
Okay, sure.
なるほど。ということは、金蔵さんの書斎は唯一の安全地帯というわけですな。
Assuming that Kinzo hadn't made a deal with Beatrice and duplicated the key.
そういうことになりますね。あの怪しげな匂いの部屋に一晩も立てこもるなど考えたくもありませんが。
Peculiar smells.
あの部屋が一番安全であることを今は認めなければならないようです。
その安全な部屋に閉じこもってたじいさまを犯人は連れ出して殺してる。絶対安全とは言い切れねえけどな。
Good point, good point.
バトラ君の説のおじいさまがうまくレシートをやり過ごして自分の意思で部屋を出た
Sure.
と考えるなら籠城の価値はあるかもしれない。
へえ、楽観的すぎだぜ兄貴。
However, at the same time, I thought he brought up a pretty interesting point. After all, this gives us a chance to question the enemy, the witch herself, about how the sealed door had been opened. Yeah, there wasn't the marking there to open door. If we assume that the culprit used some technique to abduct grandfather from his study, they would have to show us the same trick again if they wanted to assault us in the study. It's an opportunity to force the culprit to demonstrate that trick right before our eyes. If they're a real witch, we would be forcing them to say "Open Sesame" and open the door by magic right in front of us. You know, one thing that just came to my mind, like, what real difference is there with high tech and magic? Like, they're pretty much the same thing. I mean, magic is just technology we don't yet understand. So, like, previously, when they mentioned that Beatrice is right there and is invincible behind Battler, was it? In the kitchen? What if Beatrice was just wearing some high-tech camouflage cloak sort of thing? That's always a possibility, though then again, this is the 80s, so technology is not that advanced, but then again, it's a fictional story, so who cares? That's just a quick different idea, which would more align with the idea that it could be a real solvable mystery with realistic techniques used. But such a thing is probably impossible. If you flip over the chessboard, you realize that the culprit is obviously just trying to act like they're a witch. If they really were a witch, all they'd have to do is appear in front of us and show off a spell colorful enough to silence all our doubts. I mean, yeah. But this logic still has a hole in it. That being that, what if Beatrice is just like, nah, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm purposefully making you guys doubt if it's real magic or not. I need you guys to come to believe it through through means other than me directly showing you guys magic. You know? Since they've avoided doing that, everything must be the work of a fake witch who wants us to think otherwise. But yeah, sure, let's just follow, for now, let's follow Battler's train of thought. Therefore, a culprit who used a technique other than magic to defeat the locked room couldn't open the door before our eyes.
じいさんの部屋ってのは8人で押しかけても大丈夫なくらいの広さなんすか？
Yes.
はい。ベッドにソファー、毛布類もありますので、贅沢を言わなければ十分に夜を越すことができます。
It will be more than enough to spend the night, stay night, fate, stay night.
流しにご浮上、冷蔵庫に酒棚もあります。
ひゅー、そいつはすげえぜ。しかしおかしなもんだな。自分の家の中にさらに自分の家を作ったってのか？
Sure. And then maybe another one inside that, and then another one inside that.
島を丸ごと買って自分の夢を全て実現しきったじい様の最後の家にしちゃずいぶん手狭なんだな。
そうですね。いつの頃からかお父様にとっては屋敷内ですら心を許せる場所ではなくなってしまったのでしょう。
そこに引きこもっていたのを私たちは嘲笑い、そして今度は私たちがそこに立てこもろうってわけだ。
Jessica spat the words out.
ジェシカちゃんは立てこもるより犯人を探しに行きたいという感じだね。
もちろんこっちから探しに行って見つけられるなんて思っちゃいないぜ。結局は待つしかない。ならどこで待ったって同じだろ。逃げも隠れもしない。客までテレビでも見ながらのんびり現れるのを待とうじゃねえかよ、ベアトリーチェ様をよ。
Damn.
現れなければ現れないで十分です。犯人を暴くのは私たちである必要がないからです。
正論ですな。警察が来るまで危険を冒すべきではありません。
ありがとう南條先生。私はお父様の書斎に移るべきだと思います。確かにお父様が連れ出された可能性があり、絶対の安全が保証されているわけではない。しかしバトラ君の推理のお父様が何らかの方法で自ら書斎を出て外で襲われた可能性も否定できません。
That crazy theory had just been what I came up with to stop the argument. However, just as Auntie Ava had said, even though that trick would work, I can't begin to explain what motive could have made grandfather do something so awkward to sneak out of his own study. Yeah, the motives are always hidden. And that's what we will slowly figure out over the course of this game. Plus, that trick of hiding under the bed and waiting for the receipt to be removed before escaping couldn't have been used unless grandfather had known that receipt was wedged in the door. Auntie Ava hadn't pointed out that last part, but it's clear how absurd the theory was. Then does that mean that, as Auntie Ava claimed, the door was sealed and it was a locked room? Is it a doubtless fact that Aunt Natsuhi was the culprit and that room was a locked room? If Auntie were here now, she would probably make that claim openly and do me the favor of blowing my strange theory away. But anyway, I had to admit that a room with both a bed and a toilet that all 8 people could be shut up in, and with only 2 keys, both of which were gathered here, had to be the safest place in the mansion right now. At the very least, I figured this would be better than shutting ourselves up in the parlor again and saying nothing went wrong while we were in there before. No, wait, were we safe only because we were shut up in the parlor? What if leaving that room and moving to an unexplored location is actually more dangerous? No good, no goddamn good at all. My flimsy head is about to break out in a fever. As I keep flipping over the chessboard, the real and the inverse keep switching with each other over and over, and I lose my ability to believe anything. When it seems like the culprit is one of the 18, I want to believe in Beatrice. And once I start believing in Beatrice, I start wanting to find the culprit amid the 18, yeah. That keeps spinning around forever, and in the end, my thoughts haven't taken one step from where they started. How far back in the past was it that Kirie-san taught me this chessboard way of thinking? That concept of examining the situation by flipping it over and thinking from the enemy's side. I get the feeling that I was so interested in this way of thinking at the time that I let it guide the way I thought about everything. By the way, Kirie-san was Dad's co-worker back then. Okay. I hadn't dreamed that the day would come when she would be added to our family. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Didn't Kirie-san tell me something? I get the feeling she once said that while this chessboard thinking was one way to look at things, it wasn't all powerful by any means. And in fact was actually bad to rely on too much, yeah.
チェス盤思考ってのはね、昔本で読んだゲーム理論というものを私なりに解釈したものよ。
Okay.
とても面白い学問だから、バトラ君も大学に入ったら挑戦してみるといいわよ。
ぜひやってみたいっす。それを勉強してチェス盤思考をもっと鍛えたら、どんな相手の手の内も読めるみたいで楽しいじゃないですか。
でもね、盲信しちゃダメよ。ゲーム理論は非常に奥深く複雑な学問なの。チェス盤思考はその上辺だけを私なりに解釈した考え方に過ぎない。バトラ君が想像するほどに相手の手の内を読み切るには相当の勉強が必要よ。しかもチェス盤理論は応用の利く便利なものではあっても完璧ではない。便利ではあっても弱点が多い。
弱点？
ええ。チェス盤思考の基礎はゲーム理論。ゲーム理論は突き詰めると数学に行き着くの。数学の弱点は何か知ってる？
It relies too much on statistics and, well, humans aren't perfect machines.
ノイズよ。
Okay, sure. In math, when you write 1 plus 1 equals 2, that equation will always be 1 plus 1 equals 2, no matter how many billions of years pass. Nothing more, nothing less. That's because there's absolutely no noise mixed in. But, for example, unlike math, the Japanese language has noise mixed in. Kanji are a good example. Old kanji and new kanji are slightly different, which represents an introduction of noise created by change over the ages. Isn't history the same? There are dozens of policies that seem foolish in the modern era, but were meaningful at some point in the past. Because the rules of chess are fixed, when a pair of experts are discussing one particular position, it's possible that they could reach the same conclusion, whether they're from 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future. However, if the rules of chess had gone through massive changes over time, it's possible that the discussion about that same position would have changed as well.
その通り。
Sure.
人の世の事象は本来ノイズだらけなのよ。人の感情だってそうでしょ。全く同じことが起こったからといって人は必ず決められた反応を示すとは限らない。
Yeah.
それを数学の理論で当てはめ相手の行動を読もうとする時点ですでに理論には弱点と限界があることを知らなければならない。手っ取り早く言うとチェス盤思考はノイズや気まぐれ、そして誤解、認識ミスに非常に弱いの。
Mm-hmm. That's right. Kirie-san definitely said that. In the first place, chess is a game where both sides play by the same rules and fight with the same objective, namely victory. This is why it is possible for both sides to predict the other's moves. It's possible to read an opponent because you can always suppose that they will advance with the best moves they can find. I kinda now want to go to chess.com and start playing with the with a different objective in mind, not to win, but to get to a specific position with a specific piece or something, or lose in a certain way. That would be fun and definitely would throw opponents off. But what if the opponent is fickle or a little tired and makes a move that can hardly be called the best? Or maybe, what if the game actually has special rules? Only the enemy knows them, and they can make use of something unknown to you. Yeah, I feel like this is very much what is going on here in this game right now. In fact, what if the opponent actually has some goal other than victory? Yeah? Thinking from your enemy's perspective, that is the basis of chessboard thinking. Which means that if you misunderstand your enemy, any and all answers that you draw from that process will be complete rubbish and of no use at all. Yeah. Many times I'd thought that by using chessboard thinking I had gotten a glimpse into the person behind these crimes. However, I don't know anything about the culprit. Am I just playing in a labyrinth of thoughts? I mean, sure, kinda, but I mean, it never hurts. Like, as long as you remember that the way you are thinking about it is just one of many possible solutions, then I don't think it hurts to think about it beforehand, unless it takes away time from other crucial stuff you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. But yeah, I very much... Like, what do you think, Battler, is the motive behind Beatrice? Like, do you believe... Like, you clearly don't seem to believe in witches. Do you believe in the epitaph and the game set up by Kinzo? And, like... What's the idea? What's the motive of the killer? Just to kill for the sake of killing, or... I don't know. I think you should start believing that the motive has something to do with the... I mean, I guess it's... I guess he could easily start thinking that the motive is just the gold. Hidden gold. I don't know. If Kirie-san were here at a time like this, she'd probably be able to notice something with her much sharper thinking ability. Jessica never warmed to the idea of moving into grandfather's study. Damn. Did you guys all stay in the parlor then? Oh, but in the end, Aunt Natsuhi persisted and we decided to move there. Okay, fair enough. Everyone was already trapped by paranoia. Kumasawa-san had prepared dinner once already, but after the incident involving George Aniki's parents, the kitchen and the parlor had become temporarily devoid of people. Someone said that it might have been poisoned at that time. Because of that, we were unable to even touch the food that Kumasawa-san had taken the trouble to make for us. Fair enough. Oh my god. So much redness, what the fuck. The manner in which the first 6 had been killed was still unknown, but there was a possibility that it was poison. And indeed, by this method, even a single person would be able to carry out the murder of 6 fully grown adults. Furthermore, this idea made it seem like there was only a single culprit who was also afraid of Aunt Natsuhi's rifle, and this was very good for our emotional stability, yeah. But the fatigue and hunger were even harsher than we had imagined. So, on Kumasawa-san's suggestion, we all went along together to the kitchen and gathered some canned food, which would be hard to poison, to take in with us. All of Kumasawa-san's efforts to reward us with at least a nice dinner on this savage day regrettably came to nothing. The food piled up on the serving cart looked just a little sad. Okay. Oh, I don't think we've ever seen this angle. We all started climbing the stairs. Aunt Natsuhi led the group, warily staring into the darkness with both eyes and the barrel of the gun. When we arrived on the 3rd floor, just as Aunt Natsuhi had warned us beforehand, there was a mixture of chemical smell and sickly sweet aroma, a stench hanging in the air that felt like it was eating into our heads.
なるほど。こりゃ一晩もこもったら頭痛にでもなりそうな匂いだな。今更ながらじい様の書斎に反対したジェシカに賛成だぜ。
This exceptionally magnificent door felt like the source of the stench. So this was the door to the forbidden study, which had turned away all who visited it. Interesting designs on the handle. Is that like a scorpion or... I don't know, which would imply poison. While Genji-san was unlocking the door, Maria was staring at the door and the doorknob with great interest.
Oh, すごいドア。
Same. 古くいかめしくて冗談の通じなさそうな、いかにもじい様の書斎にふさわしい扉だよな。
霊的な悪意を退ける力がとても強く込められている。
Like the I guess it is like a scorpion because the thing you gave to Jessica, which Jessica gave to Natsuhi, that was a scorpion too, right?
多分ベアトリーチェはこの扉を開けられないね。
お？それどういうことだよ。
Maria pointed at the doorknob. A scorpion crest. No, a design like a magic circle arranged around a scorpion was inscribed there. Ooh, cool. This design That's right. Isn't this just like those key holder charms that Maria gave Jessica and me yesterday?
火星の5の魔法陣は強力な魔除け。
Which of the painting? If the magic circle of Mars is a strong magic repellent.
しかもこの魔法陣は相当丹念に作られていて、力がよく満ちている。
There's an interesting through line here. This is not specific spoilers for Higurashi, but there is a really funny fan theory, or a really funny theory that they do try to figure out in the game, and it's kind of whack, and they're all like, no, definitely, the aliens did this, the aliens came here, it's the work of the aliens, and right here, we are referring to Mars, which is in the space. So like, I feel like the 07th verse is slowly building up on the idea of extraterrestrial life, which is kind of funny, and I'm kind of hoping that something like that happens in the third game, Psychonia. It would be a funny conclusion to what has been slowly building up. Yeah. Additionally, this magic circle was very diligently constructed and is full of power, sure.
魔の者であるベアトリーチェにとって、この魔法陣はとても厄介だろうね。
それは心強いじゃねえか。この部屋なら、ベアトリーチェのマッシュから逃げられるってことだろ。
The real question is always with like magic circles and fortification magic and some kinds of barriers is like if we have magic or other means to do things in the game, like how far does this extend? Like it's obviously on the doorknob itself and that is untouchable. Let's just say that it's unbreakable. I would guess it extends to the entirety of the door, but what's stopping us from Beatrice using a blast of magical energy to the wall and just breaking the wall and entering that way? Does the spell extend the whole hallway? What about the roof or the floor? Can Beatrice teleport inside, or is it like a full-on square barrier that she can't get inside? Those are always interesting questions. I don't think the game is gonna answer that, and it doesn't really matter. Just the fact that is enough that there is a magic no-no sign, which means this is a no-no place for Beatrice. Sure.
うちの魔女様は実に頼もしいぜ。
なら、ベアトリーチェはどうやって中のおじい様を？
Knock on the door and ask him to come out.
バトラが推理した通りだよ。ベアトリーチェは中に入れない。でも彼女には魔法があるし、使い魔だっている。それらを使って、おじい様が自分から書斎を出てくるように仕向けることはできるかも。
Sure.
ああ、漫画で読んだな。吸血鬼は十字架が怖くて近づけねえけど、使い魔たちはへっちゃらなんで、使い魔に襲わせるみたいなシーンを読んだことがあるぜ。
Sure, okay.
バトラたちに昨日あげたサソリのキーホルダーのようなお守りも、この火星の5の魔法陣だよ。込められている力は微々たるものだけど、この島を出るまでの間を守ってくれるだけなら十分だった。なくしちゃったそうだけどね。
Meaning that you are not safe any longer.
サソリのキーホルダーのお守り？
What if we just gave everyone a scorpion key holder charm?
昨日私が母さんに渡したお守りはマリアにもらったものだったんだよ。ドアノブにかけると魔除けになるとか言われて、私より母さんの方がいいかなってあの時は思って。
そうでしたか。 ジェシカにしては変わったものを持っていると思っていました。
Sure, yeah.
夏日おばさんがあれをドアノブに？
ええ。夕べそう聞き、寝る前に扉の内側のドアノブにかけました。
なら、夏日おばさんはとても幸運だよ。そうだったなら夕べ、ベアトリーチェは夏日おばさんに指一本触れられなかっただろうね。
Also expanding on the idea, maybe it doesn't even need to be like a barrier that extends through the whole wall or creating an isolated square off area that Beatrice can't enter in. Maybe it's just having it there in proximity is enough to create a concept, and just Beatrice can't go against that concept. So yeah, that's also another idea.
ベアトリーチェはさぞや悔しがったと思うよ。
Beatrice annoyed? Yeah. Also, what if? No, I don't have any specific idea there, but something about maybe Kinzo, or maybe Kinzo died because Natsuhi put the charm there. Maybe Kinzo was supposed to survive, but because Natsuhi was protected, the target changed to Kinzo. I don't know. Couldn't lay one finger? Natsuhi thought back on that eerie graffiti she had seen on that morning. Like someone had been tearing at the outside of her door with blood-soaked hands, and grasped in surprise. Could it be that this witch who called herself Beatrice had tried to enter through the door to her very own room, but the magic repelling charm had been hanging from the inside, so she couldn't break through the door. So she was annoyed, so she scratched at it.
よせよ、そういう話。魔女なんかいないぜ。いるのは犯人。それも私たちと同じ人間だ。それを確かめる必要があるってなら、八つ先にして血が赤いかも確認してやろうじゃねえか。くそ。よくもカノン君を。
Click. Genji unlocked the door. The eight entered Kinzo's study. Grandfather's study. I'd heard rumors about beforehand, so it didn't surprise me all that much. He had done nothing more than fortify it thoroughly with his occult hobbies. Every cabinet has a separate lock. If grandfather's hobby had been chasing after pop idols, these walls might have been buried beneath idol posters. I mean, he kinda. Beatrice was his pop idol. We need an idol spin-off of Beatrice. Even if I didn't understand it, I did realize that this room was an amalgamation of all the things he enjoyed. Even so, I couldn't help but remain dumbfounded by the smell of his creepy medicine and the sweet stench that seemed to melt my head. Hmm. Locking the door. Okay, there are those armor stands. Why are they so prominent in this image? It feels like they are very important. When the door closed, it automatically made a clunk. I see. This is the auto lock that's activated whenever the door is closed. And there were only 2 keys which could open this door from the outside, both of which were in this room. In other words, this room had become a locked room. The shutter, the receipt, the chain, and now the auto lock. This 4th door had been locked in the most magnificent fashion yet, constructing a locked room in a perfect form that none could argue with. Just to make absolutely sure that the room was secure, we checked all over for ways in or out. The windows were tightly locked. That should have been enough, but just in case, we tried knocking all over the walls. After all, there had been whispers that there might be a hidden door in this room. Yeah, sure. But we couldn't find anything suspicious. Grandfather's study was very large. Even though we called it a study, it wasn't really a single room. It could be divided up into 4 basic sections: a study section, a bedroom section, a toilet/bathroom section, and a section for cooking that had a sink. I see. This study does have enough in it to live in. Now I could understand how grandfather could live his whole life in this room without ever leaving. It seemed that grandfather wasn't in the habit of watching TV, my man. There was no television in this room, nor even radio. Until tomorrow morning, there would be nothing for us to do but pass the time listening to the sound of the rain. Unless you could read books here. If you have the keys to the cabinets, of course. Dr. Nanjo gazed at the chessboard that sat on the table in front of the sofa and muttered. It was apparently the partly finished chess match he'd been playing with grandfather up until yesterday. I wonder if this position here has any meaning. And obviously, it's just a visual of a simple chessboard, but like, why is the horse facing westwards? Or I guess we should look at it from the white's perspective. Why is it looking eastwards? I don't know. The black had the white pretty well cornered, and it looked like checkmate would be reached within a few moves. The end of the endgame. Even though checkmate had almost been reached, the endgame had been rushed, and in the end was never completed.
Kinzo さん、やはりこの勝負は決着がつきませんでしたな。
南條先生。
わしは長く金蔵さんの友人だったが、金蔵さんのことを知っているのは半分だけでしかなかった。金蔵さんにはいつも聡明な金蔵さんと何かの狂気にとらわれた金蔵さんの2人が同居していたように思う。
Sure.
わしは金蔵さんのことを何も理解してはおらんかった。
He is a very mysterious character.
特にベアトリーチェ様のことになると人が変わったようでしたっけね。
In the direction of Kumasawa-san's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice could be seen. It wasn't massive like the one hanging in the entrance hall, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room, and so much of his time talking to the witch in that portrait. Who was Beatrice to grandfather in the first place? His private alchemist, his partner in crime in raising the money and becoming a massive influential family. The co-owner of this island. By now, you couldn't just explain her away by saying she was a story made by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. While eating the canned food we had brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the culprit was Beatrice herself, or someone pretending to be her. Whether they were a witch or a human. The lady in this portrait was strongly related to the basis and background of these crimes. You couldn't talk about them without talking about her. Yeah?
母さん、エヴァおばさんたちの部屋で犯人の手紙を拾ったんでしょ?
Not connected to whatever she just now said, but just thinking about the portrait of Beatrice, I don't know why, but it just suddenly came to my mind that what if Beatrice was actually like this image here was actually a painted portrait of Kinzo's wife, their grandma, from when she was young, and then she died young, but Kinzo just delusionally pretended her to exist, and now it has created this fake Beatrice, whatever that means, be it a mechanical thing or a physical thing or just a delusional manifestation, and he is acting out at Beatrice's actions, or making other people act Beatrice's actions. Yeah. I'm starting to like the idea of there being the other servants who are supposedly not here today, still being under the control of Kinzo, and are actually a large group just committing all these, or helping to commit these crimes.
まだ開けていませんでしたね。開けてみましょう。
Aunt Natsuhi took out that Western-style envelope. Genji-san pulled a letter opener out of a drawer in the study desk and handed it to her. While watching her open it, George Aniki grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. There was a good chance that its contents would say something unbearable to Aniki. It seemed that Aunt Natsuhi also realized that. So she glanced over the contents first without reading it aloud. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily. Okay.
内容は何だ?
不愉快な一文があります。私たちを挑発するつもりなのでしょう。
Aunt Natsuhi, after deciding that the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly to the table on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time. That is the third Twilight.
なんだよこれ。うっせえぜ。
And that's what we love in evil characters, being smug as hell.
ベアトリーチェの勝ち名乗りみたいなものだろうね。くそ。
大方また怪しげな魔法陣でも出てくるのを期待してたんだろう。
魔法陣ではなかったけどね。想像は裏切られなかったよ。
どういう意味でしょう。自分の存在を誇示したいのでしょうか。
Yeah, that seems to be a big part of her thing. Praise my name, believe in me, making Maria, having Maria be always frustrated that the others don't believe her. Yeah, a good part of the story seems to be about believing the existence of Beatrice. I still can't put my finger on why that is part of the story at large and what that could mean. Is there like a thematic reason for that? I'm gonna think about it more later on when we finish this episode. Not this specific part, but you know, episode 1 out of 8.
そう考えるのが妥当でしょう。
Hmm.
この手紙で初めて私たちは昨夜の手紙の主が犯人であると理解できる。
Ah, good point, good point. Very smart. Probably.
ここに書かれている内容よりも昨夜と同じ封筒でというところに意味があるものと思います。
Hmm. Or if not the same person, at least still pretending to be the same persona. Even if it's multiple different people. So yeah, same idea, I guess.
封筒も風浪も間違いなく親方様が使われていたものです。
Mm-hmm.
おお、
That was a funny line read, I guess.
もう私には何が何だかわかりませんよ。
I feel like that's everyone at this point in the story.
こんなことは後ろ宮のお家にお仕えして以来初めてのことです。
昨日の手紙の言う通りならベアトリーチェは自称じい様の最古の腹心だ。
Mm-hmm.
じい様も常々そう口にしてたんですよね。
I directed the question to Genji-san and Kumasawa-san, who nodded together.
ってことはじい様の次に詳しいのは源氏さんと熊沢さんってことになる。
Yeah?
話してくれないっすか。
私は長いことわざと耳にしなかった話です。
But now it's more prevalent than ever before.
ですがこの期に及んではそうも言っていられません。源氏、知っている限りを話しなさい。
I feel like Genji is about to start telling the story of Beatrice, but I don't have much more time to record, so I feel like I'm gonna cut it here. Yeah, this is probably the end of this part, this video. But if it turns out that the next time I record that this section is very short, I might attach the end of this part to this. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here right now. Next time we'll listen to the history lesson about Kinzo and Beatrice. Yeah. Cool. Patreon, 2-week early access, link down in the description. All that stuff. Cool. See ya. Bye.